Hi everybody, Chi here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be about motivation, and I'm going to cover the top 5 steps I followed when I found myself in situations where I haven't felt very motivated. So if that sounds like something that you can benefit from, do stay tuned. And if you haven't already, do hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can get an alert each time I upload a new video. So let's get into it. The first step that I always follow when I find myself not feeling very motivated is to have a pep talk with myself in terms of understanding what is really going on beneath the surface. So I'll explain what I mean by that. I think it goes without saying that a lot of us find it very easy to be motivated to do things that we're very good at. So for me, I found that generally my motivation tends to be a little bit lower when I'm outside of my comfort zone or I'm doing something that I perceive I'm not that good at yet. So the pep talk that I have with myself generally centers around what exactly is the issue in terms of being outside of my comfort zone or not being especially skilled or good at a particular task, because I have to remind myself that I don't have to strive for perfection right out of the gate. And I also need to give myself time. Even if I'm not very good at a task, I need to give myself time to be able to get better at it. What I found is that sometimes I feel very demotivated when I'm approaching something and I don't know what I don't know, if that's helpful to anyone out there, because sometimes you're approaching a new task and you know that you want to do a good job, but you just don't know where the gaps in your knowledge exist. So what I tend to do is to look at the task that I have in hand, and I'll give you an example. Like my YouTube channel has been a bit of a baptism of fire. I don't know everything about what I need to do in terms of a YouTube channel, but I know that if I put the work in and given time, that I will find out everything I need to know. And I just keep reminding myself of that when I feel a little bit demotivated or I feel a little bit concerned about a particular issue. And these are the pillars of my pep talk. I don't need to be perfect on day one. If there's something that I don't know, there are ways and means of finding out what I need to know. I need to give myself time to be able to get those skills, so I don't need to be too hard on myself. And if I'm consistent and put the work in, then I will get to a point where this particular task will be more comfortable for me and I'll be in my comfort zone. The second step that I follow is to draft an action plan, and the reason I do this is because I have seen a correlation between lack of motivation for myself and feeling overwhelmed. And that's generally when there's a lot of work to be done. So I found that actually writing down a plan in terms of what I'm trying to achieve, the task itself, how I'm going to go about achieving the task, helps me to identify if there are any gaps that I haven't covered yet. And then once it's down on paper, or it's been written at least, it has helped me to calm my mind down and to just take each step at a time. So that would be my second step. The third step is just to make sure I celebrate all my wins, even the ones that I may perceive to be relatively minor in terms of my particular journey. And I'll come back to my YouTube journey. It is so important to me to celebrate every win. Each time someone watches my video, each time I get another subscriber. I've got 16 at the moment. My task is to get to 100 by the end of this month. And it's so important that I tell myself to celebrate each and every one of those wins, because I've got big dreams, I've got big targets in mind, and that's absolutely fine. But each dream has thousands and thousands of steps to get there, and I'm right at the beginning of my journey. So I just make sure that I celebrate the win. Great to have your eye on the end goal and the big picture, but just to make sure you don't get caught up in that and then don't do enough to actually make sure that you're appreciating all the small wins and giving yourself a pat on the back when you truly deserve one. My fourth step is just to make sure that you take adequate breaks and that you recharge your batteries in a way that makes you feel rejuvenated, because I have a habit of pushing myself way too hard, getting really overwhelmed, and then just suddenly thinking, oh gosh, I can't do this. I'm sure we can all relate to that. So now I make sure that I build in adequate breaks every hour or so. I will make sure I get away from my laptop and just get some fresh air. That I get enough sleep, that I'm eating properly, I'm taking my nutrients, and I'm just looking after myself, because when I've got a lot on and there's a big project, it just takes so much to make sure that you stay on top of things. And you really need your body, mind, your mental well-being to be intact in order to be able to achieve these things. So it's fantastic to have a great work ethic and to push yourself really hard. But the downside of that is that if you just keep on pushing, which I've done at times, and pushing and pushing and pushing and not taking adequate breaks, it can really affect your levels of motivation. My fifth step is just to make sure that give yourself rewards when you complete your tasks, and they can be relatively small rewards. I mean, I have a particular thing where there's a bakery fairly near me. They do a wonderful wholemeal scone with raisins, and it's just such a small thing, but I reward myself all the time just to stay motivated. I'll say, okay, if I've done this, I'll make sure I go out for a long walk, a particular area or park that I enjoy. I make sure that I build in these rewards so that my mind has something to look forward to, and it's not just work, work, work and work. And it could be whatever your reward is absolutely fine. But I think there has to be something in there in terms of that once you've done something and you know you've done your best, or you've worked very hard on an area, you say well done to yourself and you give yourself a small reward, because that is the only way to keep going. And at the end of the day, we're not machines in that sense. That brings me to the end of my video on motivation and staying on top. I hope you've enjoyed my video and you found it useful. If you have, do hit the like button and leave a comment for me in the box below. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Take care for now, and goodbye.